Welcome, everybody. This is Monika at Empower Your Health, Empower Your Life TV. And I want to welcome you to this special series of our podcast, Spilling Tea Over Therapy and Crypto. I will be conversing over 12 weeks with lifestyle catalyst, yoga teacher, and crypto original gangster Aimée Tañon. We will bring you an original perspective on the possibilities and the intersection of therapy, blockchain technology, cryptocurrency, Web3, and the metaverse. If you're a therapist, yoga teacher, coach, or trainer, or somebody wanting to enter the crypto space in an informed, intelligent, and self-empowered way, you will enjoy and appreciate this conversation. Join me as I open my own horizons on what is possible for us all in this emergent space. Let's delve in together. Hello, everybody. This is Monika. And we're going to be spilling tea over therapy and crypto again with Aimée Tañon. I'm so excited you're here. Today we have a very important topic and we are going to be talking about security. So welcome, Aimée. I so appreciate you being here. Let's get
welcome. It's great to be back. Let's get started. This is a really fun topic for sure. And I think we could begin by saying, what are we securing? I think that's so important to bring to surface. Because for a lot of what we do in our life, the security comes from someone else or something else, right? So when we put money in the bank, are we securing it or is the bank securing it? So I think that's why it's really important to understand the space of cryptocurrency and blockchain, Bitcoin, Ethereum. It's because this is where we're becoming like guardians of our own digital assets and currency. I think that's super, super cool and important to understand. And I think I believe security and also understanding crypto wallets is a good place to start.
Fantastic. So are you going to help us today understand what wallets are? And
Totally. We're going to keep it as simple as possible.
Wonderful. Let's get to it.
Let's get going. So basically, your cryptos are as safe as their wallet are. You know what I'm saying? So there's different type of wallets and they serve different purposes, including security as well as convenience. Okay, so those are two things we want to understand here. So basically what a crypto wallet are lines of code that allow you to interact with the blockchain, and understanding that your cryptocurrencies and your NFTs are always stored on the blockchain. And that allows you to easily restore them with the help of your seed word, seed phrase, private key, in case you lose your phone that contains your wallet, or unless you get, if something happens and your computer, hard drive wipes out or something, that actually gives you the ability to recreate it from another device. Mm-hmm. Hope that was clear.
Yes, and it opens up a little more to consider, because then we become responsible for all this information that we're holding, all the seed phrases, right?
Correct. And that's part of what it means to be sovereign, right? We have a society today that when something goes wrong, we want to call up Walmart, Visa, MasterCard, Amex, and we want to just have them fix it for us. And most of the time they can. And that's in some ways a very convenient thing, but it's not always something that is free, for example. Like when you look at the increases in some of these credit cards and their annual fees, you are paying for this. It's not like it's a free service. They're embedding it into the cost. It's a retail product. So if you have an APY annual percentage on your credit card, you're going to see that this is what you're going to be paying it in. And if you don't pay it off within a certain amount of time, of course, that makes more money coming out of your pocket. So this allows you to sort of navigate the experience yourself without having to worrying out a third party. Right? So it makes you sovereign over managing your own money, which is something that I don't think many people have done since their grandparents, where they've put it in the mattress or they might have put it in a coffee tin in the freezer. So it's really our responsibility now as we navigate in this unique space.
Yes, and because the first thing I really realized when I started to be curious and interested in crypto space is really owning cryptocurrency is nothing like having your money in the bank. And it really opens those questions like, am I being responsible for my investments? And um, can I rely on myself? All that stuff is really important. I think it opens up a bigger perspective for people who are interested in crypto. It's not just about having another currency, it's much bigger.
It is, absolutely. And that's why when understanding the security of your wallet for crypto is really important. And we'll go through it with two overarching items. You're either going to have, there's two basic overarching wallets, a hard wallet and a soft wallet. A hard wallet is like a Trezor T, a Trezor, or a Nano S, Nano X. My preference is the Trezor T. I will give you the link for that one as well, because it's important to understand that you buy these wallets from their manufacturer, not from Amazon. It literally, this is also a safety precaution, simply because you do not know how clever these potential scammers or hackers could be, that they could even make it that that device looks like it's coming brand new, but it's been like already opened and resealed. So that's where it gets really, really, it gets a little frightening. And it's not to scare anyone. It's just about recognizing that you have to like trust and verify, and also do your own research. And sometimes some could be more convincing than others. And sometimes also those that could be super, super convincing aren't always up for positive things. Sometimes the people that you might think are the ones that are giving you the best information could also have an agenda. You know, the one unique space about this cryptocurrency space, it's very interoperable. Many of us also are super transparent about that. A lot of these programs and these devices and a lot of these platforms have affiliate programs, which allows it to be community driven, which means when I talk about certain products, I'm talking about those products in those areas that I have tested. I've tried them out, and I've even been in part of their communities, and I really enjoy what I see from a technical perspective, which is why I recommend or suggest the Trezor T or the Trezor itself. But if we go back to what that is, those are hardware wallets. They're wallets that are disconnected from the internet. And understanding that this is a computer cryptographic space means that you cannot outsmart a hacker. I mean, no, don't even try it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you really have to practice really good cyber hygiene.
Right. So tell us more about cyber hygiene, because it's not just about the kind of wallet you own. I think it goes into the perspective that we have about
Correct.
keeping ourselves safe and responsible.
Yeah, this is a great question, Monika, because cyber hygiene, I'd probably say, also relates heavily to the more convenient wallets that are like your soft wallets, which would be like potentially a soft wallet would be something like a Trust wallet, which is amazing. I like that one as a downloadable wallet, which is you could download to your phone. You have MetaMask, which is a web browser soft wallet as well. That's a web wallet. That one comes and it's used inside either MetaMask. MetaMask is either used inside as an extension of Firefox, Brave browser, or Google Chrome. I specifically left Google Chrome last because many people tend to be very, very connected to Google Chrome. I personally don't recommend Google Chrome. My recommendation is normally Brave browser or Firefox.
Okay, that's good to know. And of course, we're not giving you advice about what kind of technology to use, but it's good to know that there are certain technologies that are much safer and more neutral. And you may want to do your own research on that too.
I always recommend doing trust, verify, and do your own research, and understanding that there's not a lot out there. And what one has to also get present to is you're learning a new language. So like all of these terminologies, you're learning a new language. So in some ways you are going to have to trust some sources, but also try to leave the emotion out of it. That's one bit of advice I could give everyone, especially as a yoga teacher, yoga therapist. Try to leave the emotion out of it. Sometimes we already have limiting beliefs and elements that keep on coming in the way of us taking a decision simply because of something from our past. Try not to let that come into your present day awareness and affect how you choose for something. It's not like that. These are very technologically developed programs and apps which actually have tangible measurables that you could see if they're going to be strong enough or not, right? The challenge there for some is that because it's such a heavy tech space, unless you really kind of understand the technology, kind of been in that space for a while now, it gets very daunting. It's very scary. But don't fear. Don't get stressed. Take a deep breath and just recognize that a smart contract wallet, which is inside the context of a downloadable app, would be something like Trust Wallet. Another one for the web through Brave browser or Firefox would be MetaMask.
Okay.
Another one on other blockchains and ecosystems could be the Phantom Wallet or Glow on Solana. So those are different types of wallets out there.
Okay, so we have different kinds, and really, it's not about, like you said, not about getting scared, because it can be a little intimidating in the first place. But if you take a deep breath and just approach this space as, wow, I can learn so much, and I can actually start taking things in my own hands and becoming responsible. And unlike, owning your money with a bank where you have a credit card you have to pay fees for, this is so different, because you are not, on the one hand, you're not being secured or protected by a big institution, but this big institution also doesn't have ownership over you.
Correct.
Which one do you choose? This is up to you.
Well, a perfect example would be is like, a lot of people were stuck indoors during a pandemic. It was really being able to have that, being able to have funds available to them, or even being able to go to a cash machine. Sometimes it's not that easy, right? Especially just if circumstances don't allow it, right? So this is something that allows you to be accessing it all over the world, from anywhere in the world. I think that's super powerful.
Yep, wonderful. So do we want to talk more about the wallets?
Yeah, let's go a little bit more in just being present to sort of what they are and why. The comparison of the two for me when I share it with my folks is really understanding what they do and what they are. When you look at what these wallets in criteria are, by definition, a hot wallet is basically an application that's connected to the internet, and it stores your private key in an online environment. Okay? A cold wallet stores private keys in an offline environment. The key word to see there is online versus offline. When you're offline and disconnected from the internet, your wallet is more secure by default. When you talk about your criteria of how it works, hot wallets are connected to the internet. It allows for easy transactions, fast online processing, back and forth, right? When you start looking at cold wallets, they begin online, but then they shift to an offline environment for your private key signing by your cold wallet. That allows the completed information sent back to the online version, the online network, right? So you actually do it offline, what you need to do that's private. When it comes for what users would be more apt to using a hot wallet versus a cold wallet, most of your cryptocurrency traders or individuals that are collecting NFTs or want to make quick online payments or send transactions to pay, they would use a hot wallet like MetaMask or Trust, one of those, or even Coinbase, right? Someone who wants to store their cryptocurrencies with the highest level of security, they would use a cold wallet. A couple of little things that you want to be aware of were the types of the hot wallets and cold wallets. Like I said, to reiterate, Coinbase is one of the popular hot wallets, as well as Exodus, which is a desktop wallet, but it is a hot wallet in theory. In terms of the cold wallet, you either have a paper wallet, which is the most secure because it's just on a piece of paper and it could just be laminated and put somewhere, and then you just got to make sure no one finds it. Or you could have a popular hardware wallet, which is one of the ones that I mentioned, which was Trezor T or Ledger Nano S. In terms of security, yes, the pink elephant in the room is that hot wallets are more vulnerable to hackers due to their connectivity to the internet, whereas cold wallets are never, the private keys are never exposed online, therefore it improves their security tenfold. So it's just a little bit of the comparison between the two so that people can understand their criteria of what they're looking for. And I do suggest that you have more than one because you'll have different needs and different necessitating needs to want to use them.
Great. Yes, I think this is a very important point that we don't want to put our money into one bucket and our security into one bucket, but
No,
have
we don't.
options, right?
No, we want to have options. So we want to do some DD, and we're not talking about Dunkin' Donuts, we're talking about due diligence, okay?
All right.
And you want to base it on a few factors. I know we were talking about this during one of our sessions. We were talking about how do we understand how to do that due diligence. So now I'm going to give everyone, all that are listening, a little bit of a bonus. Here are 5 things that I do when I do due diligence for myself. So get your pens and paper ready or your iPads. Private keys. Who does the wallet control my private keys or not? Or do I have access to them? Ease of use. Does it have a nice UI, user interface that's easy for me to use? The development community. Is it really active? So is the development of the app or the extension, are the people active on Twitter, Discord, in Telegram? Are they working on developing the app and making the app grow more robust? Backup and security. I want to know that the backup and restore features are feasible for me and that I understand them. And then, of course, compatibility with different operating systems, Mac, PC, and also just recognizing that I want to have cross-compatibility if I am working on a different speed of internet, right? If I'm in a different speed of data, if I'm on a mobile wallet, right? The one thing that we always want to be aware of, which I say with Bitcoin, is not your keys, not your wallet, which means if you don't have your private keys, the wallet is not under your control. So as long as you don't have your private keys or access to your private keys, that is a more centralized version of a wallet with someone else controlling your keys.
Yeah.
Or with someone else who has access to your keys.
That's worth repeating. That was such a big...
Yeah, let me go back again because this is really important. Everyone take a seat, take a sip of tea, sip of coffee, take a deep breath. Private keys. If you don't have your private keys, you don't have control over your crypto. Not your keys, not your wallet, not your crypto. And a lot of crypto, Bitcoin maximalists, as they call them, Bitcoin maxis, will say this a lot. Because if you don't have access to your private keys and another body does, you don't technically have access to your crypto.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important to understand that as that's why I said it was one of my number 1 criteria.
So here's...
But Monica, you got to understand this one. This is the piece that we got to know. With that comes sovereignty and personal responsibility over managing your own private keys, not expecting someone else to do it, which is what makes it easier for people to fall into that habit of wanting what's convenient versus what's actually something that you own.
Perfect. Mm-hmm. Yep, because you actually are in control of your assets. This is something that doesn't really happen out there in conventional banking systems.
Yeah, in traditional finance, as we call it, CFI, centralized finance, or centralized banking, we call it DeFi. It's DeFi for decentralized finance versus CFI, which is centralized finance, which is your traditional financial or banking industry you have today.
Right. So this is
I hope that was clear.
This is huge. Yeah, to me it's clear. I mean, and by the way, you guys, if you have questions about what we're talking about or something is unclear or you want to know more, just
leave them in the comments.
Yes, I'm always here listening to your questions, and we are shaping those conversations around them. So that's very important.
Totally agree with you, 100%.
Awesome. All right. So we are now we saw the bigger picture, DeFi is not CeFi, and we are taking sovereignty back we are taking our possession of our assets into our hands, but that gives us an extra responsibility because nobody can save us. right?
There's no one we could call when something goes wrong. But like I mentioned to some of my clients and some of my friends, one has to understand that sometimes you have to fall a couple of times before you learn the importance and the strictness of this space, because you are taking responsibility of your own assets, whether they're an NFT or they're whatever they are. It's sovereignty over you managing yourself. But that's also what allows you to know that if anything happens to it, there's no one else to blame but you. And it's not a negative, it's just the transparency of the space, which is what so many people are now realizing is important to have.
Beautiful. So just sort of to wrap up our conversation,
Sure.
somebody's sitting there and wondering, well, I'm getting curious about it. So what would be the first step for them to, start to enter this space? What would you recommend?
I would probably give 3 recommendations. And one of them will be a visual to watch, and the other one will be a podcast to listen to. And the third will be just a tip on browsers. So the first one is Saving Capitalism on Netflix. It's a wonderful documentary. It talks a lot about the 2017 Saving Capitalism film that was done and presented ideas on the whole element of what it was actually in the context of what is capitalism and what it actually is. And I think it helps people understand the whole concept of capitalism, right? That's number 1. Number 2 would be Recognizing the Bitcoin Standard podcast, which talks about sound money and how to be sovereign over your own understanding of your own management of your own wealth, your own financial destiny, right? The third would be using Firefox or Brave browser, because Chrome has a lot of web extensions, and as much as those web extensions make your life easier and maybe a little bit more convenient, that convenience does come with a risk and a price. And in my experience, most of the folks that I know that have suffered from hacks or exploits, as we call them, whenever I've asked them what browser they've been using, 95% of them were using Chrome.
Great. So we have 3 steps, and we're going to be posting that in the episode notes for you, just to have that together. So Saving Capitalism, check out Bitcoin Standard podcast, and look into Firefox or Brave browser. Great.
Awesome.
Yeah. So is there anything you want to wrap up with? To leave us?
I have so many, but we're probably we could add that into next week's episode, where we will go through how to set up a MetaMask wallet and what you need to do, how to set it up, because there's really important things that we have to get out of the habit of doing, which is saving on our computer, screenshotting. We have to get out of those habits.
Great. Yeah. Thank you so much for that. This is a very important tip. So you'll be changing your entire hygiene when it comes to information and computers, by the way. So it's
Correct.
not just about crypto. I think it's all about just taking that responsibility for our data and information, our personal data, which goes even beyond just the crypto space.
Totally.
Wonderful.
I think that's awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
Great. Well, we're going to be talking more about security next week. And like I said, please post questions, connect with us, and let us know what you want to learn and what would be the most helpful for you. So, Aimée, I so appreciate your time today, and just
you're welcome.
so much.
I appreciate you too as well. I'm excited. I finished my tea, so that was grateful. Now I'm going to make another batch.
Alrighty. Well, great. We're going to be talking tomorrow, and all of you have a beautiful week.
Okay. Everyone have a great week ahead. Take care.
Bye.